Hi everyone, my name is Caroline Cass.
And I'm Sudhir Pari.
And we are both members of the Berkshire District Attorney's Youth Advisory Board. Today we have the opportunity to speak with the Berkshire District Attorney Andrea Harrington. The Harrington has served as the District Attorney of Berkshire County since January of 2018. Me and Sadia are going to ask her some questions about her job and her goals for administration. Furthermore, we also hope to answer some questions for us as well. So, dear Harrington, I would love to know right now how you are doing and what have you been doing to kind of cope with this whole pandemic situation?
Hi, thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to speak with you. I feel very fortunate because throughout the pandemic, my family we've been safe. Our housing is secure, our food is secure, so we're very, very lucky. And I recognize that a lot of people in our community have a lot more stress on them and their families right now than I do and than my family does. So for me, I've been working at home and I've been homeschooling my kids pretty poorly. And we're just trying to get through and, trying to support each other. And we are enjoying, I think, spending more time together. My 8th grader might not be enjoying it as much as I am. And we've been spending a lot of time with the dog and taking walks and been able to connect with people like this virtually, which has really helped us get through the last now going on 2 months.
Good to hear. Sadia?
Okay. So what exactly is a district attorney?
Well, the district attorney is an elected position and is responsible for the prosecution of criminal cases throughout all of Berkshire County. So we work very closely with local police and with the state police who are responsible for investigating crimes. And then once somebody is charged with a crime, it's the district attorney's office who has prosecutors who prosecute people who have committed crimes in our community. And we distinguish between crimes that are violent and really hurt people, and crimes that are nonviolent and are more committed because people have mental illness or substance use disorder or struggle with poverty. And in those cases, we try to use the power of the district attorney's office to help get people into treatment, help them get medical care. So we do both of those things. We do the piece where we're really aggressive against people who commit violence, and we work to try to make sure that those people are removed from our community so that we can have a safe community and people are not being victimized. But also really we do a lot of community work to try to build a county where people can be safe and can be healthy and can thrive. And our youth advisory board is a part of that effort.
You also just mentioned people who feel kind of victimized and you want to empower them. My question is maybe what advice do you have for people who maybe feel a little unempowered or maybe lack the courage to speak up? Like what can empower them or can encourage them?
Well, so the question is, how do we help people feel empowered? And I really love the way that you put that, because I think a big piece of our job is to support people who have been victimized by crime. And I hear from victims all over our community that they don't feel like going through the criminal justice system gives them that feeling of being empowered and feeling like they have a voice. So we have put a lot of effort into how we serve victims. Some of the changes that we've made are that we try to connect with victims as soon as they make a report of a crime to law enforcement so that we can explain the process to them. We want to build a relationship with people who are victims of crime. There are a lot of services that are available to people that are victims of crime. So we're always working to increase those resources and to help people take advantage of those. A big thing that I want to do, and I haven't accomplished it yet, is to bring something called restorative justice to Berkshire County. So restorative justice, I've participated in it a little bit. I'm still learning about it, but really, to me, the idea is where, the person who is a perpetrator of a crime has an opportunity to be accountable and to acknowledge what it is that they have done to the victim, and the victim has an opportunity to see that the person who harmed them takes responsibility. And to me, I think that is probably the most empowering thing that we can do for victims. The other piece for us is making sure that people are never victimized in the first place. So we really put a lot of effort into preventing crime.
Awesome. So what inspired you to become a district attorney?
Well, what really inspired me to become a district attorney was a law professor that I had when I was in law school. It was my first year of law school in criminal law, and my professor, Angela Davis, she was not there's a Black Panther Angela Davis. She's not the Black Panther Angela Davis. She is the law professor Angela Davis, but she really did a lot of the early kind of scholarship around the power of prosecutors and how prosecutors have used that power in a way that helped lead to what's called mass incarceration. So some people might know, other people might not know, that the United States incarcerates people at one of the highest rates of incarceration in the entire world. And it's pretty shocking when you look at the high numbers. And a lot of that was fueled by the approach to drugs in the 80s and 90s. So she was one of the first people that started talking about that. And she talked to our criminal law class she really encouraged us to become prosecutors so that we could change the way the system worked so that it would be more fair and just and equitable. And at the time, I became a defense attorney, and I worked for a defense attorney for about 15 years. And then I started seeing across the country more people who were defense attorneys who were running for district attorney in different communities and winning on a platform that was really focused on, distinguishing between people that are violent and commit violent crimes and need to be incarcerated. But whereas, prosecutors really need to be community partners in solving problems that are, around mental health illness and substance use disorder and poverty. And that at that point, when I saw other people running and winning on that kind of a platform, I just felt like the time was right for Berkshire County for that kind of change. And I had a lot of support from people in the community, like my friend Shirley Edgerton, Bill Sturgeon. These are like really well-known community leaders who suggested to me that if I ran, that they would support me.
That's really good to hear. You also just mentioned a little bit that interested me was the incarceration part, how we have a very high incarceration in the U.S. I actually did a psychology class last year, and we learned a little bit about incarceration in the juvenile justice system. So I was wondering kind of like, what's your plan or maybe goal for that in Berkshire County, possibly?
Yes, the question around juvenile incarceration in particular. So there's been a lot of social science research, and we have a lot of data around, what helps kids to, get on a better path when maybe they're starting to get involved in some criminal activity. And what all the data and the research says is that it's community-based support that really helps kids deal with underlying issues and problems, whereas getting kids involved in the criminal justice system tends to lead to very high rates of recidivism. So recidivism is like that means like that people become involved in the criminal justice system and they tend to come back and become re-involved and commit new crimes. And for me, because I used to represent kids in juvenile court, and I think that if we treat our kids like criminals, and to me that means, arresting them, bringing them into court, bringing them in front of a judge, going through that kind of legal process. I think kids are very impressionable and they take on that kind of identity, and that it's a very negative thing for young people, even though we have a lot of people in the juvenile court who are working really hard to help, provide kids with the tools that they need. And we're really proud to be working with them. But for our vision of juvenile justice, it's really about keeping kids out of the courts, keeping kids out of the system, and connecting them with community-based services. Because a lot of kids in our community struggle with a lot of heavy things. And so it's an opportunity to provide young people with the tools that they need while they're still developing, which all the research and the data shows that, while young people are still maturing is like the best time to address those underlying issues and get kids like on a better path.
That sounds very, very nice. Sadia, do you have another question maybe?
Yeah. So if you could give advice to your younger self, what would you advise?
So, when I would advise my younger self, like thinking about that, making that transition in particular from middle school to high school, I would really tell myself that other people everybody's like kind of worried about what everybody thinks of them. And that really you can go into high school and be yourself and be friendly and make friends with people. And you don't have to spend so much of your energy worrying what everybody thinks of you, because really people are so busy worrying about themselves that they really don't have enough left over to like think about, what you're looking like or what you're sounding like. And so I would really tell my younger self to like go easy on yourself and try to have more confidence, and just let your personality shine through and take advantage of the opportunities that exist, which mean like, making friends with other people and building relationships. And I would tell my younger self too, to take advantage of the people in the school and in the community. And you don't necessarily have to wait until you're having a problem and need advice, but, just get to know your teachers. Like if there's a subject you're interested in, like, talk to people in your school that know about that subject, and just, it's an opportunity for you to learn and grow. And I would tell my younger self, like, just to relax and to try to take more advantage of those kinds of opportunities.